When it comes to what is falsely labeled as Islamist terrorism, certainly without fail, all terrorists in the bulk of terrorist attacks these past 15 years acknowledge Wahhabism, the official religious narration of the Saudi regime for their acts. Now, the backward ideology, unfortunately, occupies a preeminent position of strength in the global expression of Islam, thanks to extensive Saudi and few other South Persian Gulf regimes' campaigns of spreading the false ideology. According to a political scientist, Alex Alexiev, the impetus for the spread of the interpretations through the Muslim world was the largest worldwide propaganda campaign ever mounted, dwarfing the Soviets' propaganda efforts at the height of the Cold War. It is no more surprising news that Saudi petrodollars have played a key role in the radicalization of Muslim societies across the globe. Easter 2019. Sri Lankan Christians were preparing for their rituals when a series of coordinated suicide bombings rocked the capital. 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels were targeted by Takfiri terrorists, followed by smaller explosions in a guest house and a housing complex. 258 dead and at least 500 injured Sri Lankans were left behind. The immediate investigations concluded responsibility of the attacks lies on Wahhabi-inspired militant group National Tawheed Jamaat. Only a matter of weeks was needed before Muhammad Aliyar, the Saudi-educated scholar, was arrested for links with Zahran Hashim, the mastermind behind the suicide attacks. The arrest and alleged bombers' links with Saudi mosques in Sri Lanka and Britain has once again thrown a spotlight on the rising influence of Saudi-funded Wahhabism in East Asia. Zahran Hashim and Muhammad Aliyar were in contact through a Saudi-funded Wahhabi madrasa and a library in the town of Kattankudi. Kattankudi on Sri Lanka's eastern shores is a Muslim-dominated city. Investigations also reveal that Aliyar was involved with training groups of suicide bombers while operating related financial transactions. According to Kattankudi Muslim community, hardline views gained momentum in the area when the library was dominated by Saudi journals and literature under Aliyar, the Saudi-educated manager. Aliyar founded the center in 1990, a year after he graduated from the Imam Muhammad ibn Saud Islamic University in Riyadh. That was a key moment in the spread of Salafi doctrine in Kattankudi. According to a plaque outside, the center was partly funded by Saudi and Kuwaiti donors. According to Reuters, funding for the center came from local donations, student fees and private donors who were classmates of Aliyar's in Riyadh.
Saudi Arabia has actually been pumping money into various masajid, and obviously when a country starts giving money, then obviously people will be very accepting of the money. And what they don't realize is that actually this is something that comes with strings attached, and it comes with taking the people of that country, the people who are following the religion of Islam in a particular direction. And that direction has been to encourage a kind of sectarianism that will kind of be further enhanced, that will actually be something that is very much become part and parcel of the psyche of the people. So it starts to impact on many, many different groups.
Sri Lankan Christians are not the only part of society being targeted by Saudi-funded Salafi extremists. Muslim community leaders say they had repeatedly warned the authorities about Wahhabi activities and Zahran in particular for years. But it is not all about Sri Lanka. The tentacles of Saudi-backed Wahhabism is spread way beyond Sri Lanka borders. Despite a documented history of a significant minority, Muslims living in Rakhine State in Myanmar since the 11th century AD, they have always been subject to severe restrictions and discriminations by the Buddhist majority. The United Nations formally regard Rohingya Muslims as one of, if not the, most discriminated people in the world. Now Rohingyas face a new wave of bloodshed, which is described by the UN as textbook ethnic cleansing. It has reached a horrendous level just recently. All these come as many Rohingyas regard the Saudis as a dark force in the humanitarian disaster.
Saudi Arabia has its tentacles all over the world in different Muslim groups because it fits in with the agenda of the West to actually make sure that they are going to be able to say to Saudi Arabia, we want this done here, we want that done there, and Saudi Arabia, because of the money and the financing that is provided, can actually influence and direct where things are going to go. While that doesn't necessarily happen in terms of direct command and control. The Myanmar regime, under the so-called Nobel Peace Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, resorts to rape, murder and arson, and force the displacement of Muslim communities with the excuse of carrying out a campaign to reinstate stability. It claims that stability is under threat by Saudi-backed ARSA militants. Since the establishment of the House of Saud by the British colonial empire back in the 20th century, they have projected themselves as defenders of the Muslim nation. However, in practice, history has proved that the spurious claim is being frequently challenged, whether it comes to defending the cause of Palestine or mistreatment of Rohingya Muslims in the country of their birth, Myanmar. All these come as Saudi Arabia has faced little pressure from Western politicians and even in some cases is surprisingly praised as a reliable partner in combating terrorism. The Saudi regime is using the tool of religion to actually spread a particular brand in terms of actually furthering its own interests, in terms of sending out particular ways of doing things, particular ways of actually controlling what people will or will not protest about, the kind of Islam that they will actually practice. So it is something that is very much a tool of the Saudi regime. We need to understand that, and that tool has been used very, very effectively over different countries and across the globe to actually further its agenda.
How the Saudis are buying up politicians and mainstream media are no more hidden facts. In our next episode, we will expose the threat of Saudi-backed terrorism on other East Asian nations.